mama, not the mama.
You do that one more time, and I'm gonna throw you across the room.
Not the mama! Wee! Oof! Again!
All right, Xers and nostalgia lovers, get ready to have your mind blown. Remember Dinosaurs? That weird, wonderful, and slightly terrifying TV show that somehow made prehistoric life feel oddly relatable? Well, it turns out there's so much more to this show than you ever realized. From its insane budget to the shockingly deep social messages hidden beneath all that rubber and animatronics, Dinosaurs was way ahead of its time. And today, we're digging up all the wild facts you never knew about this legendary show. So strap in, grab your favorite 90s snack, and let's head back to a land before time.
Not the mama.
Where we will talk about the surprising things you never knew about dinosaurs. Did he just hit me?
Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop!
Yards! He scores! The Bulls lead 80.
Girl, your hair's so nappy, Wilson couldn't pick it.
This is Max Headroom.
Are you kidding?
Jim Belushi turned down playing Earl Sinclair. Jim Belushi, the sibling of comedy legend John Belushi, was once offered the role of Earl Sinclair, the lovable yet flawed patriarch of the Sinclair family on Dinosaurs. But guess what? He turned it down. Why? Because at that time, Jim had his eyes set on becoming a big movie star, not a TV actor. Fast forward though, and Jim would go on to star in According to Jim, a sitcom where he played, you guessed it, a family man. Funny how things come full circle, right? His role on According to Jim was basically Earl Sinclair. Minus, of course, the dinosaurs. But still, can you imagine the difference a dinosaur might have made in Jim's career? He probably should have rethought that one. You know, I'm actually a fan of Jim Belushi. I like his work, from Mr. Destiny to Taking Care of Business. I was actually a fan of his. Do I think he could have pulled off Earl Sinclair? Yeah, I think he could have pulled it off. And I mean, not to say Dinosaurs wasn't great without him, it was. I definitely think he would have brought something special to the cast had he said yes. Dinosaurs was outrageously expensive for the time. Can you believe how expensive Dinosaurs was? It's mind-blowing. Aside from the dropping ratings, one of the biggest reasons the show got the axe after its 4th season was its outrageous budget. Every single 30-minute episode cost over $1 million to make. Yeah, you heard that right. Think about it. Massive sets, mind-blowing special effects, the animatronics, puppets, and of course, all the talented crews and actors that brought this prehistoric world to life. It was just too much to keep going. And remember, this was the 90s. Nowadays, $1 million per episode is pretty standard for a sitcom. But back then, this was an insane amount of money. Shows back then were made on tighter budgets, making Dinosaurs an expensive beast of its own. And ultimately, it just couldn't keep up. It's crazy to think about the price tag that came with this show. That is an insane amount of money for the early 1990s. If you do the calculations in today's money, that's double that amount. So in today's money, that would be $2 million an episode they would have to spend, or a little over, to produce Dinosaurs. And back then, that just wasn't heard of. However, I'm glad somebody greenlit it and Disney had the money to do it, because we got one hell of a show. Nintendo considered making it a video game. Okay, so the year is 1993, and the world is buzzing with excitement over Dinosaurs. Now picture this. Nintendo, yes, Nintendo, one of the most iconic gaming companies, is actually thinking about turning Dinosaurs into a video game for Super Nintendo. Sounds cool, right? At the time, a lot of popular TV shows were getting video game adaptations. But here's the catch. These games rarely lived up to the hype. Instead of staying true to the shows we loved, they often went off the rails, leaving fans disappointed and critics unimpressed. Dinosaurs could have been just another one of those missed opportunities. But as the TV to game trend started fading away in the 90s, Nintendo realized the risks weren't worth it. The idea faded into history, leaving us wondering what could have been if that Dinosaurs game had actually made it to our consoles. It's a glimpse into a parallel universe where we could have explored the prehistoric world of Earl and the gang in pixelated glory. As somebody who's an avid gamer, even now, I gotta agree with the decision that Nintendo didn't make this a video game. There were very few video games that were shows that translated over. FYI, DuckTales has to be the greatest of them all. Even though it was a cartoon, it was still a show technically. But I definitely think this would have hurt the show's legacy had you made a video game and it flopped. The Simpsons tried to mock the series. So back in '92, The Simpsons took a playful jab at dinosaurs. So in The Simpsons episode Black Widower, the family is gathered around the TV watching a show that's clearly a nod to dinosaurs. Bart blurts out, "It's like they saw our lives and put it right up on screen," throwing some serious shade and implying that dinosaurs might have borrowed a bit too much from The Simpsons. But here's the twist. Dinosaurs was actually created by Jim Henson in 1988, a full year before The Simpsons even made its debut. So while Bart's comment might not be technically accurate, getting roasted by The Simpsons is still a huge pop culture milestone. It's like being given a weirdly awesome but totally unearned badge of honor, one that says, "Hey, we've made it, whether we deserve it or not." Simpsons, I see what you did there. I see what you tried to do. You tried to shame them. Dinosaurs didn't care. Dinosaurs, at that point, was still a successful show, and I think The Simpsons just took a little playful jab at them is all. I don't think it was any hardcore beef between the shows, but it was definitely clever and creative to see. Good job, Simpsons. That was a good one. The finale was planned from the beginning. If you grew up watching dinosaurs, there's a good chance the final episode is still burned into your memory. And not in a warm, fuzzy way. It wasn't just another sitcom goodbye, it was kinda devastating. In the gut-wrenching finale, Earl Sinclair's company makes a series of catastrophic mistakes, wiping out all plant life and plunging the world into an eternal winter. As the snow falls outside, the Sinclair family gathers in their home, huddled together, slowly realizing the chilling truth. This isn't just a cold snap. This is the end. Not just for them, but for all dinosaurs. For kids who tuned in expecting another lighthearted episode filled with baby Sinclair's antics, this was a brutal wake-up call. The show had always been funny, satirical, and quirky, but it ended on a note of unavoidable tragedy. Here's the kicker though. This wasn't some last-minute twist. The creators had always planned for dinosaurs to end with extinction. They knew from the start that there was no other way to tell this story. So this wasn't just a show, it was a lesson, one that hit harder than most of us were ready for. Okay, so according to the scientific things we learned as children, we knew that the dinosaurs went extinct, right? But this was, wow, this felt harsh. This felt really harsh. Especially because we were children as fans of the show. To end on this note was like, wow, okay, so they all died at the end? Even the baby got wiped out? I understand that was the plan from all along, but man, that was heartbreaking for a lot of us as children to just be like, okay, there's no happy ending for them, huh? Just straight to the grave. Earl Sinclair's Sighing was actually for a purpose. If you've watched Dinosaurs on a regular, you know that Earl Sinclair's signature move, sighing like the weight of the world was crushing his prehistoric soul, was practically his second language. It wasn't just for comedic effect though. There was a real behind-the-scenes reason for all that exasperation. Bill Beretta, the talented performer inside Earl's massive suit, revealed that those deep, dramatic sighs weren't just method acting. They were a necessity. See, the costume's head sat above Beretta's own, and there was no eye holes. The only way he could see anything was through Earl's mouth. So, every time Earl let out one of those weary, defeated exhales, it was actually Beretta trying to navigate the set without crashing into a couch. Or worse, baby Sinclair's high chair. So next time you see Earl sighing like he's got a mortgage and 2 kids in college, just know it wasn't just part of the character, it was a practical life-saving maneuver. So here's a fun fact. I've been in theater my whole life, mostly, since about the age of 10, right? So I've had to be in costumes before, and I've worked at amusement parks. And I'm here to tell you, those costumes, 1, they're hot, extremely hot. 2, a lot of them, you cannot clearly see where you are going. And for him, he had no eye holes, so he could only see through the mouth. That is insanely difficult. That just makes me respect him more for being in that suit. And he did a fantastic job. You would never know. Now, we don't know how many takes they had to do, right? He could have been fumbling and bumbling all around and we don't know. But the end product was something marvelous. Episodes were released on VHS to help pay for the show. Pouring your heart and soul into creating one of the most ambitious shows on television, only to realize that the cost to keep it going was astronomical, is crazy work. But that's exactly what happened with Dinosaurs. By December 1991, the financial pressure was so intense that the first 6 episodes were rushed onto VHS, well ahead of schedule. It wasn't just about giving fans an early taste of the show. It was about survival. As co-creator Michael Jacobs admitted, we never dreamed of the show being as expensive as it is. That early VHS release, a desperate but clever move to offset the sky-high production costs. And Disney didn't stop there. They turned the Dinosaurs cast into a full-blown marketing machine, parading them around Disney World and Disney MGM Studios. The goal? To make sure this prehistoric powerhouse didn't go extinct before its time. From a business standpoint, how can you be mad at that? You want to continue producing the show, right? You have fans of the show that want to see the show going on, but you are bleeding money. You got to do something. And VHS route, I'm not mad at it. However, we know that eventually that big bill caught up to them. Take the big bill and lowering ratings, and that is a bad combination. Dinosaurs seems like it was doomed from the beginning to a degree. No press was allowed on set for the first season. No one, nada, zip, zero, zilch. Not a single reporter or camera was allowed to peek behind the curtain of Jim Henson's Creature Shop during the making of the show's first season. Why? Because Michael Jacobs and the team were fiercely protective of the magic. We made a promise from day one, no press on set, Jacobs explained. We refused to shatter the illusion for kids. I knew exactly what would happen. Photographers snapping photos of these incredible creatures with their heads off, cables exposed, puppeteers in plain sight. It's like Alf. Do you really want to see Alf, or do you want to see someone's hand up Alf? I wasn't going to let that happen, said Jacobs. For him and the crew, the magic mattered. The kids came first, and they weren't about to risk breaking that spell. Kudos to them. I'm not mad at this decision. The press can be a walking spoiler alert. Sometimes the press trying to inform the public just gives things away. And I am with this decision right here. Keep them out. Let's keep the magic of the show alive. And nobody's the wiser, at least for the first season, eh? Eventually, we learned how everything worked. But I'm glad we got to keep the magic as long as we could. Each family member is named after an oil company. Hey, did you ever notice that every family in Dinosaurs has a name that sounds strangely familiar? Well, that's because they're all named after real-life oil companies. It's a clever little inside joke playing off the totally false myth that oil comes from dead dinosaurs. Take the Sinclairs, for example. Yep, they're named after Sinclair Oil, the company with the iconic green dinosaur logo. Earl's grumpy boss, BP Richfield, that's a mashup of British Petroleum, if you all didn't know that that's what the BP stood for, and Richfield Oil Corporation. Roy Hess, a nod to the Hess Corporation. And sweet old Grandma Ethel, she's named after the Ethel Corporation, famous for its fuel additives. It's one of those subtle details that makes Dinosaurs even more brilliant, hiding sharp social commentary beneath all the laughs. Now, that might not seem like a big thing because he named the characters after those, but it's very clever if you ask me. That's a very little clever thing. That's one of those things that adults probably got while watching the show, where us kids didn't get it. But I love those things in TV shows like that, and they don't seem to do that in television anymore. I appreciate those things and found it to be really clever. Jim Henson never got to see a single episode. My heart goes out to Jim Henson, pouring his heart and soul into this project, shaping its very essence, only for him to never see it come to life. He had a vision. In his final years, he worked closely with designer Kirk Thatcher, sketching out the quirky prehistoric world and its unforgettable characters. But fate had other plans. Henson passed away in '90, just 1 year before dinosaurs hit TV screens. The show evolved, blending sharp political satire with classic sitcom charm, thanks to the creators Bob Young and Michael Jacobs. But through it all, Jim's son, Brian Henson, made sure his father's dream stayed intact. When Dinosaurs finally premiered on ABC, it wasn't just another show. It was a tribute, a love letter to the man who started it all. Jim never got to watch a single episode, but if he had, I believe he would have smiled. So most of y'all by now know that I am in the DMV and from the DMV. And if you don't know what the DMV is, that's the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And this man is a national treasure here. Why? Because he graduated high school here at Northwestern High School, and he went to the University of Maryland and graduated from there. There's even a monument to him on campus. It's a statue of him and Kermit the Frog sitting together. This man was the epitome of creativity, and I salute him because I like almost everything this man created. The producers borrowed many members of the Sesame Street team. Did you know Dinosaurs had some serious Sesame Street and Muppets magic behind it? Yeah, Brian Henson didn't just hire any puppeteers. He brought in the best of the best. These weren't just skilled performers, they were legends. Imagine Kermit the Frog's own Steve Whitmire helping bring these creatures to life, or Gonzo's right-hand man Dave Goelz working his magic. And let's not forget Kevin Clash. You know who he is, right? That's the voice behind Elmo himself, who also gave life to Baby Sinclair and even Splinter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The talent behind Dinosaurs was nothing short of extraordinary. No wonder those puppets felt so real. They had the same hands and voices behind some of the most beloved characters of our childhood. I think puppeteers are probably the most underrated people in Hollywood, because not only do you have to be great with puppeteering, you have to be a great voice actor for most of these spots as well. And these people go unnoticed a lot of times, unless you're somebody big like Elmo, Big Bird, Cookie Monster, something like that, then they get recognized. But it's a whole lot of people who don't get recognized that bring this fantasy to life. So shout out to all of the great puppeteers and what you do. You definitely had a fantastic effect on my childhood. Baby Sinclair's catchphrases came from an actual baby. Hey, guess what? Baby Sinclair, most of the iconic catchphrases came straight from a real baby. While shaping the characters of Dinosaurs, Bob Young didn't have to look far for inspiration. He borrowed straight from his own third son. That's right, the adorably demanding Not the Mama and the irresistibly catchy I'm the Baby, Gotta Love Me weren't just clever writing. They were lifted straight from real-life toddler antics. And boy, did they take off. Those lines weren't just fan favorites. They were plastered everywhere on t-shirts, buttons, and just about every piece of 90s merch you can imagine. Talk about a baby with star power. Dinosaurs birthed the LA Creature Shop. Can you imagine pouring your heart and soul into a groundbreaking TV show, building a team of 35 talented artists, puppeteers, and technicians, and suddenly it's over? That was the reality when Dinosaurs wasn't renewed after its 4th season. But this wasn't just an ending, it was the beginning of something legendary. Brian Henson, and No Strings Attached, recalled how the crew simply didn't want to pack up and head back to London, where the original Creature Shop was based. They had fallen in love with LA, the energy, the opportunities, the creative pulse of the city. So instead of saying goodbye, they made a bold move. The crew were saying they didn't want to leave, Henson said. In the end, we decided we have a core of 6 to 8 people there all the time and have a full crew on a project-to-project basis. And just like that, the LA Creature Shop was born. At first, they cut their teeth on TV commercials, keeping the dream alive while the London branch handled major productions. But then fate and Steven Spielberg came calling. The LA team got hired to work on Jurassic Park in '93, and well, you know how that turned out. The shop that DINOSAURS built had officially become a part of Hollywood history. The series was inspired by a chow mein commercial. Before Dinosaurs became the beloved TV classic we all know, its origins may have started with a rampaging dragon in a soy sauce commercial. In a special DVD featurette, Pre-Hysterical Times, The Making of Dinosaurs, Brian Henson, who is the son of Jim Henson, shared a fascinating tidbit about his father's inspiration. See, long before Earl Sinclair was stomping around Pangea, Jim Henson was behind the chaotic Choy dragon, a fire-breathing puppet that crashed through kitchens in the brand's old commercials. The Choy dragon just wrecked everything, Brian recalled, laughing. And I think my dad always thought that was a hilarious character. Maybe Dinosaur had its roots in that. So in a way, one wildly destructive dragon paved the way for a family of wisecracking, refrigerator-raiding dinosaurs. Funny how creativity works, isn't it? They needed something to sell Choy chow mein, because if you've ever tasted it, bleh. Oh my gosh, it was, I don't care if it was made with dragon fire, you could have, oh no. The advertising, huh? Back in the day, that was a lot, because Choy, that was just a salt bomb. It was not great, as good as your takeout. Yo, get out of here. See, the brilliance of Jim Henson again, coming up with that character to help sell bad canned noodles. And there we have it, Dinosaurs. Y'all remember that one, right? We all do? Dinosaurs was great. I loved it. The baby was great. The whole family was great. Still based off kind of the Flintstone concept, right? But I love that they tried something new with this show, and it worked. Well, it worked for a little while anyway, until the ratings went down, but it worked. It's definitely something that us Xers tend to remember, and I've never heard anybody say anything bad about that show ever. It must hold a place with a lot of us. So what about you? Did you like Dinosaurs? Did you have a favorite character? Did you agree it was time for it to go? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a talk, family. Let's discuss. Huh? It's a great day. It's a sunny day here. I hope it's sunny where you are. But y'all know what to do. The whole like, comment, subscribe, share. Thank you all. I can see when you all have shared. So I appreciate you all sharing the videos. And until next time, love you, love somebody else, and I'll see y'all soon.